Choosing the right DJ headphones can be a confusing process. There are hundreds on the market with lots to choose from at a very varying price range. So in this video, I'm here to help you hopefully make better purchasing decisions and choose the right DJ headphones for your next purchase. Welcome back everyone, Jamie Hartley here from Crossfader, and I've been wanting to bring this video to you for a while, but obviously with headphones it's a hard thing to review because you can't hear what the headphones sound like. And there's much more that goes into it when purchasing headphones than just the sound quality. Now I've had all of these headphones quite a while now in the studio, and I just want to make you aware right at the start of this video that this is not the holy grail of DJ headphones. There are loads more on the market, but these are the ones that we've had in the studio for a while, the ones that I've tested, the ones that I'm familiar with and used to. So I can, give opinions on what I've got in front of me and what I've heard. But please remember to check out the comments at the end of this video to see what other users' experiences are, and just do that due diligence before going and buying your set of headphones. But I hope after watching this, you've got some ideas on what to look out for when purchasing headphones, and maybe you'll find the right ones for you after watching this video. It's all based on personal opinion, and what I've done is I've broken down into different categories some of my favorite headphones in those various categories. There are things that are more important to one DJ compared to another, so hopefully by doing it this way, you can find the category that best suits you and then choose the headphones off the back of that, or try and find some kind of average between them all for your next purchase. Now bear in mind, in this lineup, we've got headphones that range from $35 right up to something like $369. So there is a huge price bracket here. But as you may find, that price bracket doesn't reflect the sound quality or some of the other things that come with buying headphones. So we might be able to save some money here where we don't need to spend an arm and a leg to get the top end headphones to get the desired output that you want. Now, what I have done is I've put these in price order, and we kind of have what I would call the entry level or the cheaper budget headphones in these first three. We've got a bit of an anomaly here, but then the mid-range headphones here, and then the high-end headphones when it comes to price point at least over here. So just keep that in mind while we're talking through the video. Now, first topic we're going to talk about is the comfort. Are these comfortable on your head? Why is this important as a DJ? Well, if you're going to be playing sets for up to 5 or 6 hours in a club, at a residency or at a party for a private function, they need to be comfortable on your head and around your neck because you're going to have them on for long periods of time. You don't want them to be squeezing too tight and giving you a headache. Now, I appreciate everyone has slightly different sized heads and shaped heads, so this might come down to personal preference too. What I have found is the winner of this category for me has to go to actually these Oneodios here. Now these are super comfortable. They're super soft and plush on the ear cones, and they've got a really nice soft headband, and they're not squeezing too tight, and they're still quite light. Now, needless to say, I've not had problems with any of the others, particularly when it comes to comfort. I have worn them all for long periods of time. However, there is one pair that stands out as the least comfortable, which is the V-Modas for me. They're made out of quite robust, heavy materials, and when I've worn them for a long period, it feels quite tight on my head. It makes my head ache a little bit and my ears ache a bit. So that's something to bear in mind. But like I said, they all do the job well when it comes to comfort, but the Oneodios and the Pioneers are the ones that take the lead for me. In this category, when we're talking about sound quality, there are a few things you need to think about when purchasing headphones. Are you simply purchasing DJ headphones just to be able to preview the next song and basically beat match 2 songs together before you mix it in? And are you doing all your mixing out loud anyway with the booth monitors or the external speakers? If that is the case, then sound quality shouldn't be the top factor for you when choosing headphones, because they all do the job in that respect. They all sound great from a DJ's perspective of being able to achieve those two things. However, sound quality starts to play into it if you start mixing in the headphones where you need to hear your EQing. It plays into it if you want headphones that become a hybrid where you want to listen to them outside of DJing as well, just in a normal circumstance of listening to music in headphones. You may also want to start producing music either in the future or you already do, and you want some kind of hybrid headphone model that replicates a good flat response when it comes to music production, as well as sound decent when it comes to DJing as well, rather than buying 2 sets of headphones. So there are a few factors to play into this. Now the ones that take the win for sound quality do kind of lean into that price bracket of the higher end price point. The V-Modas and the Pioneer DJs do sound great, and they've definitely got unreal clarity. So they're great for listening to music in general, and then they're also great for DJing. You will be able to produce music in them, but they're not necessarily hybrid headphones that are designed for both, but they do sound very clear in their clarity. So, you know, you could produce music in them, but not rely on them for, you know, your final mix and master, but you could definitely produce in them. However, I've got to give a super honorable mention to these Oneodios in the middle yet again, because they actually, in my opinion, sound very comparable, very close to these high-end headphones over here. However, the price point is very, very different, which we'll get onto shortly. So I've got to give an honorable mention there for the Oneodios for their sound quality too. They all do sound great, don't get me wrong, they all sound good enough to DJ with, so that's not a problem. You could buy any of these and DJ no problem with them. But if you're thinking about, you know, you want a higher quality sound than just being able to hear that kick drum pumping away, then that's where I'm going to point towards. However, those lower end headphones, if all you want to do is just monitor, you know, your beat matching and preview the next track, then any of those lower end headphones will do the job fantastically. Going against the ones that perform worst in this lineup, for me personally, I've got to say the Aiaiais. These are the TMA DJ2s. They just feel a bit over EQ'd for me, and they definitely stand out compared to the rest. They sound very different to the rest of them, and I just don't think they really stand out from a sound quality perspective compared to the rest of the lineup. And that even goes against some of those more entry-level headphones. I'd always reach for some of these over the Aiaiais when it comes to sound quality. This category, adaptability, is quite a loose one, but I just wanted to include it because it's something to think about when purchasing headphones. Now, it's hard to pick a winner in this category because a lot of them do this well, but what you want to think about is, how do you use your headphones? Are you going to have them on your head at all times? Do you listen to the music in one ear from the speakers and then the headphone source on the other ear? Are you wanting to, you know, put your headphones on and off your ears regularly? These all play into the adaptability. And what I mean by that is, a lot of headphones, you can adjust the sort of feel of them. So you can adjust the headband, you can adjust the swivel of the cups, and all of these things adapt to your suited needs. Now, all of them do this pretty well. I will say that the Pioneers up at the high end, again, it's the highest spec headphones, or the highest price headphones, should I say. They're great. They have this spring back action with the swivel cups. They fold up, which most of them fold up in this way, which is great. So you can fold them up smaller than the headphone size and put them in a case, which then takes up less room in your bag. A lot of them have detachable cables as well, where you can choose to have a coiled cable or a straight cable. And you can easily replace those cables then, which is another great pro to a lot of these headphones. And it's become pretty standard for a lot of headphones out there. So I will say it's something to think about. I think my favorites for the adaptability and being able to maneuver the headphones around are definitely the Pioneers at the top, because the V-Modas, the Sennheisers, and the Aiaiais, and they're okay. And the Aiaiais, those three don't have the swivel cup action like the Pioneers do, or any of these lower end models do. The Pioneers snap back, so you've got that swivel cup and they kind of mold to your head really nicely, and they move around on your head really nicely, and you don't feel like you move them and then they just fall off, which is a common thing. Is like you might move an ear just up a little bit and then it kind of is loose and falls off your head. So they definitely sit to your head well, and you can attach them in different ways to your head, which is really good. But obviously there's a huge price point there. I will then say that actually the Hercules are very adaptable. You can move them in all different ways and fold them up small. But so are the other two. Low-end price point headphones here. But I'd say Hercules are definitely the most maneuverable. But they are a little bit floppy with it, so they do spring back, but I feel like it moves in so many ways and it kind of clicks around a little bit that you can definitely tell the difference between like the high-end model and the low-end model. The ones that don't do well in this category for me are the Sennheisers, the HD25s, and the Aiaiais, because they don't fold up much smaller. The Sennheisers do have a bit of a swivel cup where you can move the cup backwards and forwards, whereas the Aiaiais, literally the cups just click up and down, And the only thing with this clicking action that you find where you've got the band separate to the cup, it starts to loosen after a while, and it's the same design on the Sennheisers, and maybe after a few years at least, they start to get loose and it sort of, the cups start falling up and down quite easily. Whereas I haven't found that as much with some of the over-ear, sort of the integrated headband adjustment mechanisms. But it's just something to bear in mind. They don't fold down any smaller. The Sennheisers don't have a detachable cable either, so to replace the cable's a bit of a faff as well. So that's something to bear in mind. This category falls down to, do they look good? And, you know, is there any special branding? So we've got to straight away talk about the V-Modas. You know, if you want to get your logo on some headphones and you're all about branding and pushing your logo and brand out there, then the V-Modas are amazing, because for an extra price still, you can get your logo printed on these shields, they're called, on the V-Modas. And you can get anything printed on there, and it's all metal components and it feels great. So definitely, you know, if that's all you and you want to look the part and have your logo center display, then the V-Modas get a special shout out there. But then from a look standpoint, which I personally like the look of, the aesthetics the best, I will have to go for the Aiaiais. I'm all about that minimal, clean, just minimal look. And the Aiaiais do that perfectly. You'll see a lot of DJs wearing these, and I think it's probably down to the fact that they're simple, they're sleek, and they're minimal. So Aiaiais take the #1 spot for me for the look, but then I will also say that a notable mention is, I think the Pioneer HDJ Cue ones at the lower price point also look great as well, because you can get that sleek black look if you want, but they also have lots of colors that you can adapt them to, so you get different colored pads and different colored wires if you choose to, if you want to add a bit of flair to your kind of branding and look as a DJ. But they're still minimal in my eyes, and they still the most compact as well. If you have a look at some of the rest of the lineup, these Oneodios are by far the biggest, and they look a bit ridiculous on your head standing in a club. That's not to say don't get them, it's just to say be aware that they look huge on your head. Same with the lower end Oneodios, they're quite big, and then the high end Pioneers are actually quite big as well, but they've got a bit of a sleeker cup design, so that, you know, saves itself from the much fatter cup design of the Oneodios. So yeah, for me, I'd say the Aiaiais and the Pioneer HDJ Cue ones are up there with some of the best from the aesthetic point of view. The least aesthetic, and the ones that I like the least, have got to be the Oneodio ones. I feel like they're a bit chunky. They've got very plastic looking components. Even though a lot of them have plastic, it looks quite cheaply made. So something to bear in mind. This category is all about the durability. First and foremost, I will say that this pair of Sennheisers has been with me for nearly my whole DJ career, which has been pretty much over 15 years, half my life now. So they've been with me a long time, and they're still just about holding up. So I can attest to say that the Sennheisers were the industry standard. So many DJs were wearing these and still buy these, and they are still a great set of headphones to own. And they do stand the test of time. They last a long, long time. The parts are replaceable, maybe not, like the wire isn't as easily replaceable now as some of the other headphones, but you can literally take them fully apart and rebuild them and replace components in there rather than buy a whole new set of headphones. So that plays into the HD25's Pro list really well, and you know, I can attest to say that they have stood the test of time. It's not to say that none of the others don't feel great and haven't been durable. You know, I've used things like the V-Modas for quite a long time now, and they have metal components which are strong and durable. So I can say that the V-Modas, you know, are up there when it comes to durability. I've not had any particular issues with any of the others. I know that Aiaiais, when they first released their headphones, they had issues with the headband snapping, but that has since been fixed. But let us know in the comments if you've still had issues with that. I would say that, you know, a lot of these, they can be thrown around quite easily, and you can drop them down on the side, pick them back up, throw them in a bag, and they seem to sort of take that heavy handling, let's say. So from a durability perspective, I would say that the Sennheisers really do stand out on top just from personal experience, but it's worth looking at some of those ones like the V-Modas with the metal components as well. Now at this point, I want to bring in a special category, and that is sustainability. So, you know, these Oneodio headphones, they are the cheapest headphones, and you can tell that they've been produced en masse and they've been produced for cheap. If you go on Amazon and type DJ headphones in, they are the most popular, and they come up with like 45,000 4.5-star reviews, which is great. But on that mass production, if you know they're built with quite cheap bits of plastic, they could probably break easier than some of the other headphones. And regardless of that, they're obviously built en masse. Sustainability is a big thing. If we break some headphones, are we going to throw all of this away and just buy a whole new set of headphones? And then does that all just go to landfill? And suddenly we're using too much plastic again when it comes to purchasing headphones. So I've got to give a special shout out to Aiaiai at this point. And they're ones that didn't come out too well in some of the other categories. But if you're for the planet and you want to make a conscious purchasing decision for the planet, then the Aiaiais are leading the way. I love their brand. I love what they're doing. And they have ranges of headphones where they're using recycled vinyl, and obviously melting it down and rebuilding it into headphones. They're doing the same with bottles. Their packaging is all, you know, eco-friendly, and the whole sort of production line is very eco-conscious. They're thinking about that when it comes to the production of their headphones. So if you want to know that you're not just buying some mass-produced thing that, you know, could be using all sorts of materials that aren't eco-friendly, then I'd say the Aiaiais are the ones to look for. Also, from a sustainability perspective, if things start to break, are they easily replaceable? Now, I will say the Sennheisers again come out high up here because all of those separate components can be bought separately and pretty easily replaced. Whereas I know in the past, you know, if a cup goes wrong in, say, some of the Pioneers, you might have to send the whole headphone back because the wires run through the headband, and, you know, there's a lot of components in there that are all integrated into the build of it, which make it a bit more complex and not as easy to fix. So, you know, if you want something that when it's broken, it's pretty easy to fix, then the Sennheisers come out pretty high up there as well, and the parts are pretty easy to come across. So think about that when purchasing your headphones. You know, are you making the right decision for the planet as well? And that's where I just wanted to showcase that even though the Aiaiais weren't the best in other categories, they really do stand out as a strong contender in this category. And lastly, what we all want to know is the value, the price of them. What am I getting for my money, and what is worth the money? So again, it's an open category because we've got everything from $35 headphones up to $369. So it's an extremely large bracket, and they will all do the job of being able to beat match and preview your songs and mix any two tracks together. So what are you paying for between the differences? So all of the categories before are kind of the brackets and the things, the parameters you want to think about that go into the price of it, and what is best suited to you as a DJ. You know, what is more important to you as a DJ or as a music lover and listener with headphones. So the price, the value, I'm going to talk a little bit about most of them here, and we're going to talk about entry level or budget headphones, let's say, this, and then mid-range, and then high-end or expensive, let's say. So for value, I would say my favorite go-tos have to be the HDJ Cue ones from Pioneer. I go for them in the studio all the time. They're the ones that I feel the best on my head. They're not too expensive. They're not the cheapest, but they're definitely in that entry-level budget range of headphones. They're not too big either. They're not too heavy, and they just feel comfortable for long periods of time on my head, and they do the job well. They also have a good low end with the kick drum, so if you're just literally using your headphones to beat match and, you know, make sure things are in time, they've got a good strong low end in there, which I really like. So for value, I think the price of them, they kind of come out well averaged across all the other categories, and that sits well for the value when it comes to the price of them. If we're talking simply about sound quality and we want the best bang for our buck when it comes to sound quality, then hands down, the Oneodios take it for me. These mid-range Oneodios, literally, like I said earlier, are comparable in sound quality to these higher end headphones, but they're at the value, they're at the price point of either somewhere between the low end budget to the mid-range headphone. So for that price point, hands down, in this range, you're not getting a better sound quality unless you spend 3 times as much, if not more. Then for me, the ones that don't look as attractive from a value standpoint are the sort of mid-range ones now. Now that we have so many different DJ headphones to choose from, and there aren't just a couple of brands out there making them, there are a lot of brands and a lot of options, then actually the mid-range ones that sit around this price bracket here, like the Aiaiais and the Sennheiser, feel quite expensive for what you're getting when you can get a lot of comparable features or even better features, better feel, possibly even better durability in the lower price bracket of headphone. So they almost don't seem, that price bracket doesn't seem to make sense to me that much anymore when there is such good options at a lower price point, unless we're thinking about purchasing for the planet, which then that makes a lot of sense for the Aiaiais. Then you've got the other side, you've got the high-end headphones, which you would want, you know, if you're paying a lot of money, you want it to sound good, and they do sound good. So from a value perspective, it doesn't really play into this category, but don't get me wrong, they sound good, and for the money you're spending, you're gonna get good sound quality. But definitely the HDJ Cue ones take the lead for me for value. They're the ones that I would go for and probably purchase if I were to buy my first set of DJ headphones. But saying that, all of these entry-level headphones down here sound great. Oneodio, Hercules, Pioneer DJ, none of them are going to break the bank. The Oneodios are actually nearly half the price of the Pioneer HDJ Cue ones. So if you want to think of these as super budget, then they sound great and they do the job perfectly. I hope in this video it's given you a bit of oversight and insight to purchasing DJ headphones, my thoughts and opinions around them, so that you can help make a better purchasing decision yourself. I'd love to know in the comments if you've had experience with headphones, which ones you've currently got. You know, let us know in the comments what your experience has been with them, and that will help the community at large as well, and anyone else watching this video make the right decision for them. Lastly, I'll leave you on this tip. If you have the option to go to a shop that sells DJ headphones, then go to the shop, try them on, listen to them, feel what they, get used to what they feel like on your head, and make that purchasing decision in the shop rather than online. But if you don't have that luxury, then I hope this video has helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video like this very soon.